Hello, my name is Josh Kirshenblat. I'm a lawyer with Fink & Bornstein Professional Corporation. The firm has been representing injured workers as well as employers in workers' comp cases for over 40 years, although I've been doing them for significantly less. Today, I'm going to talk to you about what happens when a worker is injured on the job and returns to work but is unable to return to their pre-injury job. I'm going to be coming at this from an employer's perspective today. Most workers who are injured on the job are eventually forced to go back to work by the WSIB, or Workplace Safety and Insurance Board. Some workers may not feel that they're ready to come back because they still have injuries that have not healed yet. In addition, there may be significant psychological issues that they may not have dealt with. However, the WSIB will still force them to go back to work, even if they're not 100%, because they believe in the better at work concept, which means, in a nutshell, you get better quicker when you're working. So if one of your workers gets injured and they've been unable to return to work due to the injury, if they have been employed by you for over a year, and if your company has over 20 workers, there is an obligation to re-employ the injured worker. These obligations remain in place until the earliest of 2 years after the date of accident, 1 year after they are able to return to their pre-injury duties, or the worker turns 65 years of age. The first thing you should do is find out what the worker's restrictions are. There will likely be documentation from the WSIB, such as a decision letter, or from the worker's healthcare practitioner, such as a functional abilities form. At a bare minimum, you should see if there is any work that fits within these restrictions. However, it would be a good idea to speak to the worker first and see if there are any other issues that they're having, as the WSIB may not have accepted all of the worker's injuries. Beyond finding safe work for the worker, I would recommend trying to find something meaningful for them to do. This is not only a requirement of the WSIB's policy, but it is good for the worker's psyche. I have seen numerous cases where the work that is offered is just busy work, and this can actually make the worker's psychological issues worse. Don't forget that a job is a huge part of someone's identity. As the worker slowly returns to full strength, you should check in with them to see if there is anything that they might be asked to do that is too hard for them, or if something aggravates their injury, or if their restrictions have changed, either for the better or for the worse, and then you can adjust the modified work that you're able to give them. I would also recommend not doing anything that will draw attention to the worker's injury. These workers know they're injured. You don't have to remind them. People do that in society all the time. There is significant stigma associated with the workers, a workplace injury, between colleagues, supervisors, and clients. Oftentimes people think they're faking, or they resent, other workers resent them for doing less work and still getting paid the same amount of money. Sometimes a worker will have a permanent impairment that will never get better, which means they'll never be able to return to their pre-injury job. This can leave an injured worker even more psychologically distraught. The recommendations I've been discussing apply even more so in this situation. Imagine being a tradesperson for 20 years and then all of a sudden being told you'll never work in that trade again. I was speaking to a client of mine recently who said that he gets sad every time he looks at his tools, which he spent $50,000 on. You can help by finding permanent modified work for the worker. This can help lessen the blow of switching jobs. If you cannot find this type of work, you can contact the WSIB and they will help retrain the worker or help them find work in the open labor market. This brings me to my last point. Sometimes a worker will never be able to return to their pre-injury job, and an employer will not have permanent accommodated work for them. As I mentioned before, the WSIB may retrain this worker. You may find yourself faced with the prospect of hiring a formerly injured worker who has now switched careers. Of course, if you can't accommodate them, you don't have to hire them. No one's going to force you to. But if you are able to, I would recommend considering doing so. Most of these people are hard workers who have had an unfortunate situation that has changed their lives completely, and they may have a disability. Getting them back to work doing meaningful, modified work will go a long way towards helping them feel like they're a productive member of society again. Thank you so much for your time, and enjoy the rest of the conference.